Hello, welcome back to another Pharaoh on Jail review Hell story. Today we're going to be reviewing the episodes 2 and 3 of Jeffrey Dahmer, the Monster series on Netflix. Today I'm going to be doing 2 episodes. I'm trying to block them together because we're nearing Halloween and we want the finale to be on Halloween, darling. Okay, so I've only watched up to episode 3 at the moment. I am going to try and do episodes 4 and 5, but the series is so freaky. So on episode 2 we start with a young Jeffrey going to school and whatever. He comes home from school. His I think it's his brother or sister, I think it's his brother, crying, and he finds his mum has overdosed and she's in bed. He calls the ambulance and the ambulance come, take her away. The dad comes home and praises him for calling the ambulance or some crap. Basically his mother has mental problems. His father is kind of like mentally abusive towards his mother, saying that she's crazy and stuff like that. They're constantly arguing. He's basically brought up in a very mentally abusive home, and I think they're basically looking at the psychology into why he may have, or where it began, or where this behavior stems from, which I feel is a bit of a cop out because he's basically just a motherfucking crazy ass motherfucker, basically. Like, there is no real explanation. He is just clearly must have been born that way. But he used to basically pick up roadkill and stuff like that with his father and operate on them. So he has like a fetish for dead things, as it may. So then there's a scene where he's moved in with his grandma and he's shopping in a store, and then he hides in the fitting rooms for the store to close, and then when the store closes, he then steals a mannequin, brings it home, and it's implied that he sleeps with this lifeless object. So you kind of start looking at him a bit like, you're weird. You is a weirdo. So yeah. And then it jumps to 1991, honey. The 90s, the good old times. And then you see a black man on the floor, dead, lifeless. And then you see him going to the shops like nothing's happened. And then he buys alcohol for this teenager, who then he brings back to his house, spikes his drink. And so then he's all like out of it and whatever. He wakes up and then he tries to escape, and then the neighbors find him, call the cops, and the cops come. The child can barely even speak. He looks like a child, and Jeffrey Dahmer comes walking back from the shops and he's like, oh, that's my boyfriend, he lives with me, he's 19 years old. The child looks about 10. Like, what the hell? So then the cops bring him back to the what's it called, to back to Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, like back upstairs. The neighbors are like, are you sure he's a child? He's not a child. My daughters have seen him dig for earthworms. What 19-year-old is digging for earthworms, please? And then so the officers help Jeffrey bring the child back to his apartment. They don't check the apartment for anything. They don't they don't even take the witnesses' statements, their names, nothing. And then Jeffrey Dahmer just has the pictures that he took of this boy when he was like out of it, and then they basically take that as proof that he lives here. No words. Ooh, okay, so I'm checking my notes, I took notes, I'm taking notes, honey, I'm taking notes. So the neighbour called the officers for the third time to check that the child was in fact a child. And they basically dismissed the case as being a domestic issue, as this is where Jeffrey Dahmer is a smart cookie, because he chose to live, and the officers asked, why did you choose to live here? Because he chose to live in an area, in a block of flats that is known for the residents' misuse of drugs and alcohol. This was preempted. He was calculating. Everything that he did was calculated. He thought, I'm going to go to the most derelict area where officers are less likely to come in and search and be very extensive with their research and stuff like that. If anything was to come up, or like if he was to be suspected of anything, they won't dig deep. Basically, they'll be very shallow with it. He was very smart and calculated when it came to like the finite details of what he did. It's borderline genius mixed with a whole hell of a lot of insanity. But that's episode 2. Now we're going to get into episode 3. So then we jump back to 1959. And the opening scene is him having a wank to him imagining feeling like fish guts and organs and flesh. And this turns him on. So he's in high school now. I'm guessing he's trying to come to terms with his sexuality. I think realizes that he likes guys, and I think he's like in his senior year or something like that. So, so big plot twist. So his mother and father end up getting a divorce. His father moves out. Then his mother basically picks up his younger brother and then leaves him in the house by himself for months and months and months. So he's left to basically defend himself. So he ends up obviously buying alcohol, as teenagers do, and driving around thinking he's dog's bollocks, you know. Living life basically. And he doesn't tell anyone, so like no one from the school knows. He doesn't really have any friends, so there's no one there to tell. And then he sees this guy that is always running the same like road that he drives on, and he basically builds up a crush on him and has a whole imaginative thing of where he brings him back and then they make love and stuff like that. But anyway, and then a hitchhiker pops up into the story. This is his first victim. It's a white guy, but a straight white guy. So that's his first victim. This is where we get into the nooks and the crannies of Jeffrey Dahmer and his insanity. So the hitchhiker's obviously hitchhiking, and then he picks him up, and then the guy's like, oh, I need to go to this stadium because there's going to be some amazing concert happening, and can you take me? So Jeffrey Dahmer's like, yeah, but can we stop at my house first and have like a drink or whatever and chill and whatever. The guy's like, okay, but you're going to take me to this concert afterwards though, aren't you? And he's like, yeah, I'll take you, just need to go home and have a drink or whatever. So Jeffrey Dahmer basically, so they start like working out, drinking, getting pumped. The guy's like getting excited for the concert. He's like, yes, I think it's time for us to go. He's like, no, wait, just have one more drink. And then Jeffrey Dahmer basically leans in for a kiss because he's thinking, oh, he must be feeling me, he's being nice to me. Not realizing that he's just being nice to you so that he can get a lift to the concert for free. Okay? And then, so he leans in for the kiss. The guy's like, what you doing? I'm not no F word. F-A-G-G-O-T word. And then he's like, what do you mean? And then the guy goes to walk away and is calling him all types of derogatory homophobic names. And then Jeffrey Dahmer picks up the weight off of the, I don't know what that one's called, I don't work it out, but not the dumbbells, but I don't know what that one's called, I need to Google it. But that one, he takes the weights off and then whacks the hitchhiker over the head. The guy spins around, falls on the floor, blood is starting to bleed from him slowly, but he's still alive. And then this is where it gets twisted. So Jeffrey Dahmer basically goes on top of him, and like I think he like at one point smells him or whatever, or kisses him or whatever, and then basically strangles him. And then the guy is basically trying to fight back, but obviously he's got concussion, just had his head like bashed in with weights, so he's trying to fight back. But then Jeffrey Dahmer is strangling him, and then watching the life escape his eyes. And then he like leans down, I think he kisses him on the forehead again. And then that's the hitchhiker dead. He then drags the body underneath his house until it gets darker. And then he basically chops the body up, flushes the flesh down the toilet. He then tries to smash the bones into little pieces, but then that's not working, and to like grind it into a powder, but that's not working. So then he puts the bones in the oven so that they become brittle, and then crushes them into a powder, and then scatters them around his garden. But that's getting into episode 4. I did kind of watch parts of episode 4 because I was just like, what in the hell is going on here? But each episode it gets weirder, more freakier, and whatever. But oh my, this is where it started. This is where it started, and I guess he has a thing for it. He has a thing for killing people and doing Lord knows, we don't even know what he's doing with these dead bodies after he kills them yet. Until we get into episode 4 and 5, honey. Until next time. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you like the story time kind of reviewing, episoding of this crazy, twisted mind. But yeah, until next time. Peace! Ew.